What is up, everyone? Crunchy Frog here, and today's the day that we've been waiting for well over a month now, and that is for the studio heads at Call of Duty to finally come out and have an honest discussion with us about skill-based matchmaking. Now, if you don't know, for the last several years, there's been multiple controversial matchmaking algorithms and practices being put into play. Really, since Black Ops 3, it's kind of been getting worse, but really starting with Modern Warfare 2019 and ramping up from there. And the community has just about had it. You can't look anywhere on the internet without discourse around skill-based matchmaking and engagement-optimized matchmaking and stuff like that all over the internet, and it's really gotten to a fever pitch as of late. And so back in December, right around when Season 1 dropped, they put out a small little statement saying that they were going to finally address the issue. Really, before that, the devs have not spoken on it whatsoever. It has been complete radio silence, almost to the level of, like an NDA, like no one was legally allowed to utter a single thing about it. I know that they dodged questions about it. They dodged questions about it at like those community events where they'd bring content creators out, stuff like that. Very hush-hush, very secretive. And they finally kind of acknowledged skill-based matchmaking to a certain degree and, basically said that they would get back to us later, right? That they would say more, that they would actually have a conversation. And so we sat in silence for another month and a half now since that original post. But today they finally broke their silence. They finally put together a blog post. So today I want to just read through pretty much the entirety of the blog post with you guys, giving my thoughts and commentary along the way. I have not read any of this yet. I wanted to give my first kind of impressions and review with you guys here and just see what they actually have to say about matchmaking and, see if anything of meaning is said or if it's just kind of corporate drivel and just kind of trying to shoo us off their backs. So as always, guys, if you enjoy content like this, make sure to leave a like. It helps others find our channel. We are trying desperately to get up to the 1,000 sub mark, and anything you can do will help. As always, if you do want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. I try to do a bunch of Call of Duty videos, Modern Warfare 3 news, different opinion pieces and video essays, stuff like that. And as always, if you would like to support the channel monetarily, there is a join button below where you can join on, get some free perks every month, and help support this channel monetarily. So with that out of the way, guys, let's get right into it. So I pulled up the blog. I will link it down below so that you guys can kind of read along with it. I'll probably just have some gameplay in the background as I read along. I won't be posting any pictures or anything. I'll just put the link in there and we'll just kind of get right into it. So they start off by saying, with the launch of Modern Warfare 3 Season 1 late last year, we committed to a conversation with our community about matchmaking. Today's intel is intended to kick off that dialogue and is a new beginning for what we hope will be an ongoing conversation about matchmaking, sharing our process and learnings with you to answer questions and concerns we've seen within the community. So right away, I do enjoy that they're saying this is kicking off a dialogue. Obviously, that could mean a million different things, but hopefully that means that this is the end of them being so secretive about it. With them saying this is a new beginning for what we hope is an ongoing conversation, hopefully that means that going forward, this isn't this taboo, secretive, in the shadows kind of thing, and that they're more open to talking about it with us and everything like that, and hopefully be a little more transparent if and when any changes come. So we'll kind of keep reading on. This blog focuses on how matchmaking works across multiplayer only. We will be continuing the conversation about matchmaking in other modes, such as Call of Duty Warzone and Ranked Play, at a later date. So anything we cover today is strictly multiplayer. Now, for players who have heard the term but aren't familiar with what we're referring to, matchmaking is a multi-factor process to place players on teams with and against each other to compete in online games. The single biggest priority with respect to multiplayer matchmaking is delivering a fun experience to our players. Notice that they didn't say the fastest connection possible or the most reliable connection possible, but I digress. We'll keep reading on. While we have many years of testing and learning as part of our matchmaking process, we are continuously working to deliver the best experiences possible. For that reason, we continue to test and look forward to more enhancements to come. So already they're hinting at these statistics and tests that they've done without ever mentioning any statistics. But we'll see if maybe they do that later. We often see the community refer to our matchmaking system as, quote, skill-based matchmaking. There it is. They finally said it. That's crazy. After so many years, they finally literally typed the word skill-based matchmaking in an official conversation. That's just wild to me. But it says Call of Duty does consider skill, or more specifically player performance, as a component, as do most in the industry, but skill is not the dominant variable. We consider and prioritize several factors to create lobbies. So right away, that paragraph right there, that tiny 2 sentences, 3 sentences, whatever, is possibly the biggest bomb that Call of Duty has dropped on us in a long time, right? We all knew it was happening. I made a video, as a matter of fact, the video that kind of sort of blew my channel up back last fall. We know that skill-based matchmaking is in the game. We've all complained about it. We all hate it for the most part. There's a small section of people that actually do enjoy it, but for the most part, the community hates it. And like they say, it is kind of expanding across the industry, for better or worse. Halo's gotten a lot of flack for it now. Different games like that are considered casual games that shouldn't have this feature in it are now adopting skill-based matchmaking. I still think it's crazy that they typed it out there. I really thought they were going to try to dodge it and call it something else. But they do go on to say the skill is not the dominant variable. I kind of call BS on that. Obviously, we'll read on later for what is the dominant variable. But it definitely appears that skill is prioritized over almost anything else. At least ping, we know that much. So the first section next section that they go on is matchmaking overview. Now I will probably post this picture. They have a nice little diagram of all the things that are supposedly brought into the process when trying to find you a match. This is Call of Duty multiplayer matchmaking is composed of many factors. One is connection. As the community will attest, ping is king. Connection is the most critical and heavily weighed factor in the matchmaking process. Again, I'm calling bullshit on this. I mean, absolutely, positively, the better you are, there's literal studies done that your connection goes poorly. This isn't just some boogeyman argument. This isn't some tinfoil hat conspiracy. I remember Drifter and a couple of those type of guys ran, thousands and thousands a sample size to prove that the better you are, the worse your ping is, and by a considerable margin, to the fact that it actually starts affecting your matches, right? Not like a 2 to 3 ping difference, like several dozen ping or even up to, 3-figure difference between low skill lobbies and high skill lobbies. So right out the window, they're kind of already lying to us, right? They're trying to tell us what we want to hear, and that ping is king. I do still think that they still look at ping like it's not considered, right? Otherwise we'd be in 400 ping matches every, match, but it is definitely not. The very first week that we played, I was playing with people in France. Fun fact, France is very, very far away from the eastern United States where I live. And the only thing that I could come to think of is the guys on the other team that were from France were roughly the same skill level as myself. They certainly were not on the same connection as myself, I'll say that much. So already I'm kind of not agreeing with what they're saying here. Number 2, this is time to match. This factor is the second most critical to the matchmaking process. I'm assuming these are ranked in order according to them. We'll see. Is the second most critical to the matchmaking process. We all want to spend time playing the game rather than waiting for matches to start. Again, total BS. The time to find a match, and I remember there were several viral TikToks and YouTube videos out not even a month or two ago where they compared. There was a guy that was able to find a match in all of the previous Call of Duties from Call of Duty 4 until Black Ops 2, I think it was. So like the span of 5 or 6 or 7 games or whatever, before they were able to find a single match in Modern Warfare 2, 2022, last year's COD. So already that's BS, because the time to find a match, if you've played Modern Warfare 3, definitely if you played last year's Modern Warfare 2, you know that the time to find a match is absolutely bonkers. It is insane. It is just mind-blowing at times. So no, they clearly cannot be taking this into effect, and if it is, it has to be at the very bottom of the list, definitely not number 2. So I'm really not agreeing with any of this so far, but we'll keep going. Number 3, it says the following factors are also critical in the matchmaking process. So it just kind of lumps kind of the rest of everything together into one priority level, I guess. And the first is playlist diversity, the number of playlists available for players to choose from. Not sure what that means, other than, of course, if you're, choosing Team Deathmatch, I would hope that they would put you in Team Deathmatch lobbies. Not exactly rocket science, but I guess they had to mention it. Recent maps and modes, considering maps you have recently played on, as well as your mode preferences, editable in the quick play settings. Again, I mean, they could just fix this by not having disbanding lobbies. That was one of the best parts before, is that, they did bring back map voting, rather. So thank you so much for that, because that helps with this, right? You can always pick your maps if you don't want to play because you just played it or whatever. But they've created this problem themselves, and now they're, supposedly taking longer to find you a match because they're trying to put you with people who also haven't played, Terminal in their last 2 games. I don't know. And I still end up playing like the same maps all the time anyways. So I think that's kind of stupid, but okay. Skill performance. Now, here's where the big elephant in the room. This is used to give our players, a global community with a wide skill range, the opportunity to have an impact in every match. And this is probably where I'm going to rant for a while. Because, I mean, as you guys know, I have put out an entire hour-long video essay on this, and countless other YouTubers have as well. The idea of skill-based matchmaking is completely moot, is completely pointless in a casual multiplayer environment, in a casual first-person shooter like Call of Duty. It's not about everyone having an impact every match. Okay, and we've talked about this before too, of how with reverse boosters, that's actually cutting down on people's ability to have an impact in every match, because the people that should be with this system in a different skill bracket just found a way to boost themselves down so that they can destroy the people that this system is supposed to, protect. This is a glorified participation trophy at best. And, I get the fact that no one wants to get shit on every match. I understand that. But again, if everyone played, you only looked to ping, you didn't care about anything else, you just put a random cross-section of the community together, people will eventually get better and they won't get shit on every match. There's always going to be people at the bottom of the leaderboard. Yes, there's always going to be people at the top of the leaderboard. But that was the whole point. To implement a system like this, which has a million different, negative factors, and again, I'm not going to rant too much on that. I have an entire video. It'll be linked below as well if you guys want to see 45 minutes of me telling you why this system is not good. Check that out. But, just to rationalize it all as, oh, well, everyone can have an impact in every match. And that's still not even the case. Because now they've implemented these engagement optimized matchmaking, which I doubt they're going to talk about here, but has been all but confirmed. That, where it picks and chooses if you're going to win or lose, puts you in a super hard lobby because you just won one, or, lets other people beat up on you because they haven't won in a while, stuff like that. You don't feel like you have an impact in every match. And the better way to feel like you have an impact in every match is if you just got better at the game, which is what myself and everybody else has had to do in Call of Duty since Call of Duty 4 or before. If some people have played Call of Duty 2 online a good deal as well. You just had to get better, and then, ooh, voila, you were having an impact in every match. Up until Modern Warfare 2019, I was having quite a nice impact on every multiplayer match I played, unless I somehow stumbled into a really, got up against a 6-stack of really good guys, or I was just not paying attention, doing some stupid shit. So this was never a problem. So to uproot the whole thing just to make sure everyone can have an impact in every match, it's just stupid. I'm sorry, it's stupid. If you're bad at the game, get better, just like all of us have. If you're new to the game, guess what you're going to learn? You're not going to be bad forever. And that's the thing that really kills me too, is they treat these new players like they're babies that can't do anything correctly. That they'll never learn unless we just coddle them and treat them like little children. No, that's not the case. All of us started out going 1-12 in every match. All of us did. And you know what? We enjoyed the game because back then the games were made with care and love and they were great products to play. So it didn't matter if you were going 1-12. You were still having somewhat of a decent time. And as you got better, guess what? You never went 1-12 again. You'd start going 4-12, 6-12. Oh, suddenly you had your first positive game. Oh, now you got your first helicopter kill streak. On and on and on and on until, you maintain a 1.5 KDR like myself or something like that. So it's just, I get it. They want to make every match fair. But again, I'm not going to get into the 45-minute rant that I have on my channel. But I will just say that's what ranked is for. This is a casual multiplayer shooter. This is not about the teams being completely even and everyone on one team being the same skill as everyone on the other team. That's for ranked. This is a casual shooter. I don't want the sweatiest, most competitive, evenly fought matches when I'm just sitting back at the end of a workday trying to level up the new shitty gun that they added that can't compete against the meta weapons. I don't want to sit here, sweat pouring down my forehead every single day using meta weapons, using builds that I had to pick off of a TikToker just to be competitive or maybe get a couple positive KDRs every game. It's insane. And again, I'm probably going to touch on more of these points later. I just wanted to rant. When I saw that have an impact in every match, it's just stupid. Sometimes you're not going to have an impact in every match. And it's kind of like life. You're not always going to have an impact in certain things in life. You're not always going to be great at things in life. You can get better, but to for lack of a better term, saw everyone's legs off so they all stand the same height. It doesn't make any sense to me. It will never make any sense to me, ever. But we'll leave it at that. Again, I have another video. We're probably going to hit more points along the way, but we'll keep going here. Next thing they say is input device. Now, controller, mouse, and keyboard, that's pretty blatant. That's pretty out in the open. They've said that a while. You can kind of turn off who you matchmake up against, stuff like that, because there is, pretty big disparity between the two input devices. Obviously, platform as well, if you don't want to play with PC versus console, stuff like that. And then I've never heard about this, but voice chat enabled or disabled. I'm assuming if they do have something in the algorithm for this, it's that people with mics on, they get into lobbies with other people with mics on, so you can have that kind of communication. And in my mind, that's actually a pretty good system to have. I'm all for voice chat. I'm all for very open and everyone voice chatting like the old days. I think that was such a great social aspect of the game. So I'm actually all for that point. So I don't know how much they actually do that, but if that is a thing, please ramp that up. Make that so that, the people that don't want to hear a single peep in their game don't have to. Because that's annoying when, you're in that situation. But if you want to talk to people, coordinate, make friends, whatever, hell yeah. Put us all together. That's actually a pretty good thing. I just haven't noticed it, I guess, too much in my opinion. But it says, every time a player begins matchmaking in multiplayer, for example, the process needs to work through all of these factors to find other players, all of which are also being analyzed to quickly assemble a lobby that is stable and competitive. So, one, half the lobbies aren't stable. And, the competitive thing, like we just talked about, that's what ranked is for. Just put me in people closest to me. If I'm good, I'll succeed. If I suck, I'll fail and I'll get better. These factors have resulted in a process that we believe provides the best player experience and creates a stronger community for Call of Duty worldwide. Okay, one, there's millions of videos and tweets and whatever else on the internet telling you that this is not the best player experience for anyone apart from literally the first week or two that you have ever played Call of Duty. Once you get that first week, that first 2 weeks of experience, everything past that, you start hating skill-based matchmaking too. That only benefits, players when they first play for the first week or two. This isn't something that benefits the entire collective like they frame it to be. And, again, it's just, they're framing everything so it's competitive. I don't want it to be competitive. Sometimes I want it to be casual. Sometimes I want to use the worst gun in the game. And just because I'm slightly decent at Call of Duty, I could still eke out a somewhat okay game because I'm just playing against random players. I don't want it to be competitive all the time. That's what Ranked is for. As a matter of fact, I've been playing Ranked the last couple of days, and it's been nice because it feels good to be competitive and do that against similarly skilled players. And you get rewards for it. But in casual playlists, get that shit out of here. So they go on to say these factors have resulted blah blah blah. And the stronger community aspect is something that we've talked about, and I mentioned deeply in my skill-based matchmaking video, where this is all taking away from the community. They break up lobbies, you can't form rivalries, you verse the same subset of people, so there's never any variances. It doesn't vary up the experience for you. It doesn't make it fun. Again, playing with friends is almost impossible. And I mean that term not hyperbolically, like I mean it 100%. It is almost impossible to play with your friends in this game unless you are the exact same skill level. Invariably, if one of you is higher skilled than the other, you're both going to have a bad time, especially the person at the lower end of the skill level, right? Because it tries to compromise and find people in the middle, and usually that means the highest skilled person on your team, out of your friends or whatever, is going to be dominating because everyone is matched below them, and the kind of sucky dude that you're playing with, everyone's above him, and he just hates his life. And again, I go into detail in my other video on that, but it does not make a stronger community. And judging by the player drop-off and all the statistics that there are for Modern Warfare 3, this clearly isn't working. I don't know what metrics they have, and they're certainly not going to tell me, because God forbid, but all of the numbers that I've seen point to this game dying quicker than possibly any other game ever has. I mean, God knows my YouTube view numbers have. Right at release, I was getting booming numbers, and then literally less than a month after release, it's dead. Nobody cares about Modern Warfare 3 anymore. So whatever it is they're trying, it's not working. So they go on to say, let's get a little more technical on a few of these factors. So they break it down into sections. First section, measuring connection for matchmaking. Whether you're playing for fun with friends or looking to climb the leaderboards, connection is the most important part of the online Call of Duty experience. Connection dictates the speed at which the game can transfer information from every player to and from our servers. Call of Duty's matchmaking process evaluates a metric we call delta ping, which is the difference in round-trip time of the delta between your best data center, almost always the one closest to you, and the data center onto which your lobby has been placed, based on all players in the lobby. To reiterate, we always try to maximize the times we place players in delta centers that are closest to them. It shouldn't even need to be that hard. There's hundreds of thousands of people playing this game, supposedly. This is the most successful Call of Duty, they say every single year. It shouldn't be that hard. You mean to tell me that you have to have all these, crazy algorithms and look at my delta ping and all this other stupid shit just to put me in servers that are on the eastern seaboard? It was never that hard before, and I had way better ping in previous COD games, and it found me a game like we demonstrated before, like I was talking about those videos, up to 7 times faster, if not more. But anyways, it says Call of Duty uses a client-server model to host matches, where the time it takes to share information between the player, client, and the data center, dedicated server, has an impact on the overall feel of the match. Exactly. The Call of Duty netcode, which we've discussed in the past, works to reduce the effect of latency, but cannot completely eliminate it. The matchmaking process seeks to reduce the overall amount of latency by prioritizing stable connections or low ping with a shortened wait time in mind. No, it doesn't. Okay, I'm here to say, no, it doesn't. There is hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of videos proving you otherwise. My experience with playing the French guys on launch weekend, Nero put up a video that got a lot of traction, wherein he played several matches against people in the UK. You're not trying to match us with people against our delta ping and to try to give us the best ping. You're not. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, I'm sure it is considered to a certain extent. Otherwise it'd be playing people in Russia constantly or, whatever. But it's not as strict as it needs to be. You need to tighten that way up. Drop the skill threshold, whatever you need to do, such that I am never playing anyone that isn't in the eastern United States. I don't care. Like, that should not even be a thought on your mind. Until there's only 15 of us playing, and you just have to put, everyone in the world into one lobby, this should never be a conversation. And they kind of mentioned their lag compensation system in here, which is widely regarded as being one of the worst in the industry, causes a lot of the horrible hit registration that people liken to skill-based hit reg. It causes a lot of these issues that people chalk up to a bunch of different boogeymen in the Call of Duty matchmaking process. but really it's just horrible connection. And the worse a connection is, like they even mention here, the worse a match is going to feel. And the longer it takes for data to send back and forth can affect different parameters of the game. But they're making it seem like they are still trying so hard to get you on the best possible ping when they're not. they're objectively not. This isn't just something I'm making up in my head. This isn't something other people are making up in their head. There has been studies, hard data has been found on this. So already they're lying to us. Next section goes on measuring time to match for matchmaking. Any form of matchmaking takes time. If the wait time in a lobby is excessively long, players typically recycle the process by canceling out of the matchmaking search and restarting it, or even quitting. This does not quicken the matchmaking process and in fact can be detrimental. Okay, no, because your horrible netcode breaks half the time and it physically is not actually searching for a match. You know how many times I've clicked out of it whenever it's just searching and searching and searching and searching and searching, and we back out and boom, into a game in a reasonable amount of time. Well, what passes is reasonable nowadays. So again, that's completely false as well. Maybe by design that's how it works, but in practice, your netcode's so broken that we have to back out. And there's been literal hundreds of times in this game alone that I or my friends have had to do this to find a match. So, whatever. They go on to say, for example, in the popular Modern Warfare 3 Rustment playlist, consisting of Rust and Shipment, players often leave lobbies and or matches early on, hoping to re-queue into Shipment instead. Okay, so just give us a Shipment playlist. Anyways, this creates a vacant spot on the team during an early stage of the match. As the matchmaking process may prioritize backfilling that spot, this could result in players receiving that Rust is disproportionately selected over Shipment. TLDR, trying to cherry-pick maps may have an unexpected result. Our goal is to ensure players spend more time playing matches rather than waiting for them. So all of that to just slap our wrists and, take us to the principal office for leaving matches of maps that we don't like. Maybe if you listened to your community and gave us the playlist that we actually want instead of whatever fun portmanteau named playlist that you come up with throughout the day, nobody would drop out. Okay, it's by far and away Shipment is the best, most efficient camo grinding, XP grinding, whatever the fuck you want grinding playlist, period. Anybody who's trying to do that and be efficient and get some of that stuff over with is going to try to go for Shipment. Just give us what we want. Have a Shipment 24/7 playlist that stays there from the beginning of the game to the end of its life cycle. Then you can cycle other things in, and maybe if people want to play on Rust, they can, or another playlist that with maps that you guys want. That's fine, but leave something like Shipment 24/7. Just leave it. Stop taking things out. Stop mixing things up every week. Just the community, clearly, you even admit to it here, want to play nothing but Shipment sometimes. Just let us do that. I'm past that grind, luckily. I got Interstellar camo, so I don't need to worry about that. But for everyone else, just let them do it. Please, for the love of God. Listen to your self-talk here. The lack of self-awareness is just insane. Measuring skill for matchmaking. So this is going to be a doozy. So I'll probably read through all of this and try to give my thoughts later. But if I get mad enough, I'm probably just going to end up ranting. But while skill is one of several factors in Call of Duty multiplayer matchmaking, we know the community wants more information about how it fits into the process. Skill is determined based on a player's overall performance. Kills, deaths, wins, losses, and more, including mode selection, and recent matches as an overall metric across all multiplayer experiences. This is a fluid measurement that's constantly updating and reacting to your gameplay. Skill is not only a factor in matchmaking players against appropriate enemies, but also when finding teammates. So I like the fact that they are actually giving us decent detail here. I kind of wish they would tell us more of the things. It just kind of says and more, whatever. But like kills, deaths, they do confirm that it is a recency bias thing. So like we talked about, maybe your last 10 or 15 matches are looked at. And that's why if you start grinding like a weapon category that you absolutely suck with, you could feel your skill-based bracket falling and falling and falling, as opposed to you having to play hundreds of matches to outweigh your normal good matches, stuff like that. So it is a recency based system. Call of Duty has historically considered player performance, among other factors, as part of our matchmaking process. Our work in this area dates back as early as Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare back in 2007. Skill is implemented across the video game industry, and we recognize that continuous refinement is required to deliver the best possible experience for our players. What they leave out is, and many previous devs have said this is not me making this up, that the quote-unquote skill-based matchmaking back in CoD 4 was very, very broad to begin with. Maybe the bottom, from the 5% at the bottom up to the 95th percentile, it was very broad, right? It kind of excluded some people from getting matched against you, but it was very, very, very broad, not like what we have now. And most of it was just to balance teams. I remember one of the previous devs said, most of the heavy lifting of the skill-based algorithm back then was just to balance the teams. So the lobby itself was still just a random cross-section of skill most of the time. They go on to say, we use player performance to ensure that the disparity between the most skilled player in the lobby and the least skilled player in the lobby isn't so vast that players feel their match is a waste of time. No one has ever felt that. No one has ever said that, but okay. Our data on player outcomes clearly indicates that the inclusion of skill in CoD's multiplayer matchmaking process, as it currently stands, increases the variety of outcomes experienced by players of all skill levels. Now, I have to disagree wholeheartedly with that, because every match feels like the same. Every single match feels like the same because I'm versing clones of myself. Before, I'd just hop into a match and any random assortment of people could be in there. I could be the best player in the lobby. I couldn't be the worst just because there's not that many people that are greater than me, but maybe I'd be in the bottom half of some lobbies for sure. And most of the time I'd be in the upper half, doing above average, stuff like that. Now it is the same sweat fest, the same guns, the same everything as me every single game. That is not variety. That is not a variety of outcomes experienced by players. Maybe if you're really, really bad or really, really good, the 10% at either ends of the spectrum, maybe that, ups your variety of outcomes. But for everyone else, it actually does the exact opposite. So it goes on to say, in other words, all players, regardless of skill level, are more likely to experience wins and losses more proportionately, which isn't true. Because back in the day, if you sucked, again, they, tried to even out the teams, you could still win because the lobby was split down the middle. Usually the two top dogs were on opposite teams. It didn't always shake out 100%, but more often than not, it was fair teams, but it was still a cross-section of people. So if you were a dog shit player, you could be at the bottom, but they have a really good player at the top of your lobby, and boom, you still get wins. I still got a bunch of wins when I was absolutely dog water at the game when I first started playing Call of Duty. So that's not even true. And the wins and losses thing more proportionally is kind of true because now my win-loss ratio is almost a perfect win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. A lot of that's engagement optimized matchmaking, which they have not talked about, and I doubt they will touch on here. They'll probably call it false or fake, but we know it exists. So maybe that part down to the letter of the law is correct, but that doesn't make for a better experience. A better experience is not 50% wins, 50% losses. It's, hey, I got thrown up against a random gambit. If I'm better, I have more than 50%. If I'm worse, I have less. And sometimes that doesn't even matter, again, because other players can carry you. Whatever, we'll continue reading on. Our data shows that when lower skilled players are consistently on the losing end, they are likely to quit matches in progress or to stop playing altogether. This has an effect on the player pool. A smaller player pool means wait times for matches increase and connections may not be as strong as they should be. This can compound over time to create a spiral effect. Eventually, when only high-skilled players remain because low-skilled players have quit out of frustration, the result is an ecosystem that is worse overall for everyone. But that's the ecosystem we're in now. We're only playing other high-skilled players. What happened all of those years before when there were shitters in every lobby, no matter what? Are you meaning to tell me that they all quit? And the people that we actually went and got nukes on or, had fun games against, they were actually high-skilled players because all the baddies left? No! When I and everyone else joined COD, we all sucked. I hate to tell you, there's probably no one that has ever picked up Call of Duty for the first time, unless they were like a competitive FPS player for another franchise, has picked up COD for the first time and been a god at it, or even slightly competent at it. Everyone sucked when they started. That's part of the joy of learning a game. No one picks up a new video game and is instantly the best at the world at it. There's a learning curve, literally a term for it, learning curve. You get better, you learn. Okay, everyone started out going 1-12, 2-20, whatever. Not everybody quit. They seem to make it seem, according to this post here, if you go 1-12, you're never going to play Call of Duty again. And I'm sure there are people like that. But they weren't really invested in the game. They weren't going to give a shit anyways. And they probably still quit the game, even with your boneheaded skill-based algorithms. They probably still quit the game after 2 weeks, I hate to tell you, because they never really gave a shit about COD in the first place. They saw it in the future, maybe on Game Pass, or they downloaded it for free, to play Warzone with, whatever. If they were that unserious about it, that a couple bad matches when they know they're going to suck at the game because they just started are enough to wipe them off, they were never going to play anyways. All of us started. You gathered, back when COD 4 came out, like Call of Duty was a popular franchise, but it wasn't anywhere near what it is today. When COD 4 dropped, it ignited the phenomenon, and every year after that, it picked up steam and whatever. All along, there was not this crazy skill-based system. Everyone that joined sucked ass at the game at first, and yet we're still here. The entire community is based on the foundation of people that used to suck at the game. The people that have been going to your midnight releases every year for the past 14, 15, 20 years, whatever. The same people that put hundreds and thousands of hours into max prestiging and all this stuff every single year, they started out sucking and they didn't give up on your game. So you mean to tell me that you no longer have faith that your game is good enough that someone goes 1-12 when they first start a game, their very first game, they're never going to pick it up? That says a lot. If you made games with the same level of care and skill and polish and love that we saw back in the old games, none of this would matter. Because you would say, no, our experience is good enough. They're going to sweat out the sucky games. They're going to want to get better because they are going to want to spend time in this game. You are transparently telling us that your game is so bad and so shallow and hollow and just money hungry that you don't even want to chance the fact that somebody might go, this game kind of sucks. This ain't even worth getting good at. And you're just going to pander to them and cater to them as best you can to hopefully keep them on for another week or two. Again, if they were going to bail the first time they went 1-12 for a couple games, they were never going to give a rat's ass about your franchise other way. I hate to say. And it says, game data indicates that having some limitations on the disparity of skill across the players in a match makes for a healthier ecosystem. What game data? Show me the game data. Prove me wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Show me the data. Don't just say game data indicates. That's like saying studies show. Studies show people named AJ are really freaking cool. I can just say that. It doesn't make it true. A bunch of people would probably think I'm a loser, to be honest. But, game data indicates, show us the data. Show me a chart. Show me numbers, cold hard statistics, something to back up your claims here. We also understand that many high-skill players want more variety of experience. Hold up. You just told me that your system gave us variety of experience. Now you're admitting that high-skill players, quote-unquote, want more variety of experience. So which is it? They're contradicting themselves. Literally, I could see the other sentence on my screen. Like, it's not even far enough down that I have to scroll back up. We also understand that many high school players want more variety of experience, but often feel like they only get the, quote, and they even say this, quote, sweatiest of lobbies. We have heard this feedback clearly and will continue to test and actively explore ways to mitigate this concern. Okay, maybe. We'll have to see if you actually make good on that promise. At least you're admitting to it, but you literally just said my point again for me. Like, I made that point a couple of paragraphs up, and then you just said it to me again. After telling me that you're giving me so much more variety of experience. And then you're like, yeah, but, high school players, they're not having a variety of experience. They're just sweating all the time. And we hear your feedback. It's mind blowing that they're walking over their own feet here. Okay, this video is dragging on. I apologize, guys. Next up, they say future communications. In addition to today's blog, our technology team is developing a, quote, ping and matchmaking white paper. For those inclined to get into more granular information about Call of Duty matchmaking, stay tuned for this publication. To conclude, we wanted to answer some frequently asked questions. So I'm looking forward to that white paper with a lot more, nuts and bolts information. Maybe I'll cover that whenever it eventually comes out. Maybe I'll let somebody far more intelligent than me break it down as well. But that's something that at least would be cool, because like I just asked for, I want to see actual numbers on this. Don't just tell me game data suggests or game data indicates. Show me the actual stuff. And in this case, show me how my ping is affecting, matchmaking. So, we'll have to see. But we'll get into the frequently asked questions. I accidentally saw some of these on Twitter earlier, and some of these are pretty good. Does Call of Duty consider player engagement, time played, as a factor in matchmaking? I'm assuming this is, I'm not sure what they're referring to, but we do consider how often or how much you play when determining matchmaking. Or we do not. I'm sorry. Oof, that totally changes the answer. We do not consider how often or how much you play when determining matchmaking. So yeah, I don't know that anyone really blamed them of that. I think this is their way of addressing engagement optimized with like purposely misunderstanding what people are asking about to kind of skirt around it. I forget the term for that. But yeah, the people are probably asking about engagement optimized, and they're like, no, we don't take into, how often you play. It's like, no, that's not what we're talking. Anyways, next question. Does the Call of Duty matchmaking process impact any in-game elements such as hit registration, player visibility, aim assist, damage, etc.? So skill-based hit reg, skill-based damage, stuff like that. We've briefly touched in previous videos. And they say flat out no. Our matchmaking process does not impact gameplay elements. So they finally addressed it kind of here. I figured they'd say no. I don't know if there's been a solid study done on this yet to prove it one way or another. It definitely feels that way. Like I've said in a couple videos, I'm not 100% sold that those systems are in place, but more so that the connection starts to suffer so much as a result of all this skill-based matchmaking that, lag compensation causes you to have worse hit registration, or, seemingly less damage, and your aim assist doesn't work as well. It's all just symptoms of having a shittier connection. I'm not discounting that any of these systems are in place. I know there is patents. Every comment section of my videos screams to me about the patents. I know, guys. Trust me, I do. But, they're denying it here. I guess we have to take their word for it, but I'm not 100% sold on their explanation. Does spending money in Call of Duty content, such as bundles, Battle Pass, or Black Cell, change how players are matched? Money spent does not in any way, shape, or form factor into matchmaking. Again, this is kind of one of those tinfoil hat things. Does it exist? Does it not? I haven't really been able to tell. I did buy a bundle this year. I know, ridicule me in the comments. I found a sick-ass bundle, and fuck it, I only needed to spend $5 on it. And it wasn't like I was like suddenly getting chopper gunners the next match. So I don't even know that this exists. I definitely could see them doing that because it's Activision, but they claim it's not in there. So again, I guess we're just going to have to take their word for it for now. Does Call of Duty use bots in multiplayer matchmaking? Call of Duty does not use bots as part of the general matchmaking process. If this changes in the future, we'll inform the community. I'm pretty sure this has been proven false. I don't remember, so I'm not going to like make an ass out of myself, dying on this hill, but I'm pretty sure that they've proven that bots are in matchmaking, or at least accounts doing so very little that they might as well be bots, if not worse than bots. But again, I don't remember the exact verdict on that. That was a whole conspiracy that blew up a couple months ago. I don't remember what the data ended up coming up with, so I'm not going to talk any further on that. Do partners or content creators get special consideration in general matchmaking? No, we do not change the matchmaking process based on who owns the account. In specific cases, such as like events such as Call of Duty Next, we may be required to customize how lobbies are formed. However, these events are usually private matches, doesn't affect. I never bought into this too much. They just reverse boost. Like it's pretty well documented. A lot of content creators, if not most of them, especially the ones posting the crazy gameplay, they reverse boost. I mean, half of the nuke videos, and I'm actually going to make a video. I was penning the script for it whenever this came out, and I ended up changing up my idea for the video of the week. But, so many of them, you'll see like a nuke video and nobody shoots them. People are staring at the wall. People are like slobbering over themselves in the corner. Like they're bot lobbies, clearly, well, quote unquote bot lobbies. They just reverse boost. So they don't even need Activision to pull any strings. So I believe them wholeheartedly when they say they don't do it, because they don't need to. Content creators are just going to reverse boost anyways, because you guys give them a bunch of likes and views whenever they go 30-1 against people that probably cannot spell the word cat. And so that's what they do to get the views. They don't even need, like I said, Activision's help on that. Next question. Have you ever considered an opt-in, opt-out system for the matchmaking algorithm? Which is a great question, because a lot of our solutions have been, hey, if you want skill-based, opt in. If you don't, opt out, and we'll, slug it out. And they say our data suggests, again, no data is actually given, no citations, nothing. But our data suggests that splitting the player base with an opt-in, opt-out matchmaking will have negative consequences on the overall player pool. That means potentially longer wait times based on the type of matchmaking selected. Plus, add that in playoff, blah, 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 or playlist, etc., and matches with poor connections. So they're saying it would just fracture the player base. No, just put skill-based into ranked and take skill-based out of casual. Anyone that wants that super competitive me versus myself mirror match plays ranked, like we have done for decades and decades in online multiplayer games. And anyone who just wants to verse anyone and just kind of have a casual fun time plays casual multiplayer. There, you don't have to split the matchmaking pool any more than you're doing currently. Ranked and casual is already, a split. So whatever, though. I get their point to an extent, but, there's other ways they could implement it that doesn't, completely geef the matchmaking system. Have you ever tested removing skill as a consideration? We have run tests over the years to determine if removing skill as a consideration makes sense. We will continue to launch these tests periodically. To date, that data remains consistent with what we detailed above. Players tend to quit matches or stop playing if they're getting blown out, resulting in negative overall experience for all players in the lobby and the general player population. We purposely do not disclose when we do these tests because it may impact feedback, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so they're just saying, and they're confirming 100% here, they are just catering to the bad players, the new players. And that is it. They even above mentioned how high skill players probably hate this system. They even acknowledged it. And then here they're saying, oh, players tend to quit. No, players do not tend to quit in these type of things. Super, super bad or super, super new players probably tend to quit. And that's it. So they're, again, catering their whole game to these people because they think they can squeeze more money out of them. Which part of me gets, but it's still bullshit. Have you considered removing skill from matchmaking in specific general multiplayer game modes? We have considered this in the past, and we will continue to examine if this idea makes sense as part of an experimental playlist or in specific modes. We have nothing to announce on this front today. So that was the last question. So I remain hopeful for this. They seem pretty open about this. Out of all of the horrific stances and, dying on hills that they've done throughout this video, they seem pretty open about that. Maybe making a separate playlist that's like no SBMM. That playlist would get the fuck played out of it. That'd be incredible. Or just taking it out of, like maybe Team Deathmatch, it sounds like, or something like that. The more casual modes. So hopefully they do circle back on that. They have nothing to announce there today, but, it seems that maybe the wheels are turning. For experimental playlists, we have talked about their experimental playlist that they were trying in Modern Warfare 3, messing with stuff like more health, less health, just messing with different sliders like that. And I assume if they were to do that, they would put in that kind of experimental playlist, no SBMM. See how people like it. I think people would love it. So overall, guys, this video has gone on much longer than I thought it would, but I wanted to really get my thoughts the whole way through it and read it all to you guys. Again, I'll link it down below so you guys can read it on your own time as well. Overall, I think there's a lot of BS here. Not nearly as much corporate jargon as I thought, so that's good. It was at least seemingly written by a person and not a PR team for the most part. But they kind of contradicted themselves. They made outright blatantly wrong claims that have been proven wrong. They cite that they've done studies and have data, but they don't give it any. Maybe, again, they said this is the beginning of a discussion, so maybe later on they'll release graphs or statistics for us, but they won't even show us player counts. So I'm not holding out hope for that. This is, again, just like the guy on Twitter saying, studies show, and just spewing his point that he thinks he's right about. Until you give me hard data that, this is vastly helping, I'm not going to believe you, because everything that we've seen points in the other direction. People are leaving this franchise at the largest clip ever. The game is dying quicker every year. Interest is fading more and more every year and quicker than the year before. It's circling the drain. Obviously, it's still massive, whatever. But yeah, no, there's a lot of not great points made throughout here. But I am overall still very happy that they actually put this out. Took a lot of balls to be to be honest with you, even though they kind of lied and everything like that. They still said something. The last however many years, they have not. In fact, they've gone out of their way to not say stuff in the past. So I got to give it to them. The guys at Call of Duty, for actually putting something together and talking about this at length. And it was really detailed. I like the frequently asked question. The FAQ section really had a lot of the stuff that we wanted to hear. Obviously, they're, non-answers, but it shows that they're at least hearing these things, and that's huge. I know that's not, a lot of people will probably get in my comment section here and tell me it doesn't matter, until they do something. But I think it does matter. I think a little bit of transparency like this, I think this is miles more transparency than we've ever had from them. I think that's a step in the right direction, and I'm excited to see kind of where it goes from here. So leave me a comment below, guys. I've ranted long enough. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the whole thing. Once again, I'll leave that linked down below so you can check out. I'll also link my skill-based matchmaking videos so you can hear me actually in a scripted manner with well thought out arguments and everything like that against it. There, you can check that out on my channel. If you haven't already, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to help the channel out. Once again, we are shooting for 1,000 subs here soon. And yeah, until the next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.